So what do you have it, guys? We got another narcissistic, psychopathic female identity in Hollywood. Who's surprised? I'm not. Rumor has it that Amber Heard and Jada Pinkett Smith are best friends. They go to the same book club together, and they're sisters. They're narcissistic sisters, right? Roll the intro.
On the track.
Welcome to another episode of the Common Podcast, where we speak upon common sense and realize it really isn't that common. Ladies and gentlemen, today, if you're not living under a rock, we got this whole what the heck is his name?
Johnny Depp.
We got this whole Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case going on, where Johnny Depp is trying to sue Amber Heard for defamation, basically saying that she ruined his career by lying about him abusing her physically, right? So
yeah,
we got the whole thing that she was beat up, she had a black eye and whatnot. Again, another case of where this crazy woman in Hollywood is trying to take advantage. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this whole conversation, Johnny Depp, as a prolific of a actor that he is, I'm not letting him off the hook. I got some stuff to say about Mr. Johnny Depp. But before I get into that, I got my boy Angel. What's going on, bro? Welcome back.
Bro? Thank you.
So, I don't know how much you've been looking into this, but a few people have asked me to talk about this. So, ever since they told me that, maybe about 3 days ago, I've been trying to follow the case. I haven't fully caught up, but I've been literally watching day to day the trial. And so I've seen majority of the case. And it's interesting, bro. It's like the most bougie case you can ever imagine. You got them getting confused as to what house Johnny Depp is like. Oh, when you left house 3 and you went to house 6, it's like, no, I wasn't at house 6. I was at house 5. And it's like, what, bro? Like the most comical case I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
yeah.
Granted, I don't watch many cases, but this one's pretty. In the beginning, when I started to watch the case, I was like, I'm going to get bored. But, dude, it is. You got allegedly Amber Heard taking dumps on Johnny Depp's bed.
Yeah.
You got Johnny Depp throwing cigarettes at Amber Heard. You got audio of Amber Heard admitting that she didn't punch Johnny Depp, but she hits him. You got all these crazy things going on. And then it's just like, honestly, at the expense of both their identities, I feel like I don't even see anybody winning in this case, but we'll talk about that.
No, yeah, I agree. It's kind of surreal. It's like obviously the whole public's like Team Johnny, like from what I've seen mostly.
Yes.
And then plus the recordings, man, she sounds like I've heard some of the recordings. Like they just play it on the news regularly, and you just hear these recordings. You're like, yo, like. She sounds kind of like not fully there in the head. Like she does this laugh thing, or like the way she's looking at him during the trial, or like the supposed dressing like him the day after the trial, like trying to copy him, like the mind games. And well, it's kind of clear like their relationship has always been about like mind games, someone trying to get the upper hand and stuff like. Yeah. Honestly, it's extremely childish, which is like it's just it comes out of like they're just privileged to act like that.
Yeah.
No one's going to tell him anything. It's Johnny Depp. It's Amber Heard. You know, it's... You know, she's not really that famous, but he's Johnny Depp, obviously.
Sure, for sure, yeah, because I didn't know who Amber Heard was before this case. Honestly, honest to God, everybody knows who Johnny Depp is. I would hope so, right? Interrupt this podcast to let you know, if you're not following the podcast, what are you doing? Follow the podcast. If you want to get a hold of me, or if you want to feature on the podcast, the best way to do that is through Instagram. The handle is The Real Common Podcast. Also, the podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else that you get your podcast. So, again, if you're not following, what are you doing? Follow the podcast. Let's get back to the discussion. I'm always more interested in the more of the psychological side of things. I'm always curious into the individual. We're gonna wait to get into that towards the end of the case, but I kind of want to talk about the case itself and the defamation of it and what they're both trying to accomplish, because I think I got this right. But so Johnny Depp is trying to sue her for defamation, basically saying that by her lying about these things that he physically abused her, it ruined his career, essentially, or his future endeavors, such as the Pirates of the Caribbean 5, right? That got canceled, and a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, there was collateral damage. I mean, nobody wants to work with somebody who physically abuses women. So she obviously has the advantage there. But I don't know if this is 100% true. I heard this, but she kind of clapped back and said, well, no, now what he's claiming is like a defamation of me. So I'm going to bounce back and say if I win the case, it's 100 million, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
So super privileged case, which is
extremely petty.
Extremely petty, yeah.
On both sides. I mean, I guess Johnny has a point, right? Johnny did lose a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Amber lost like some small roles here and there. But at the end of the day, she's still going to be in Aquaman 2, which is like her biggest paying movie. Like, she's still going to be there. Meanwhile, like you said, Johnny lost Pirates of the Caribbean. Any partnerships with Disney is out the window. Any partnerships with Warner Brother, which he was going to come out in there was a Harry Potter movie that came out recently, and he was going to be in it.
Oh, man.
And so that's another one he lost, right? So you can just imagine, like, Warner Brother, Disney, two of the biggest companies in the world. You can imagine the pay from those movies would have been significant.
Oh, yeah.
So he has a point. I mean, it really did derail his career. And I think he just got steam from, like, the internet. I think the internet kind of, like, gave him you know what? People are behind me. If the public's behind me, maybe I can sue and maybe I can get something out of it. Or maybe he's just being really petty and he wants to get her ass back in court. Like, look at her and put all these things out there, air out that dirty laundry.
I think it's more to clear his name. I think that even if he wins or loses his case, I think at the end of the day, since you're right, I think more people are on his side than not.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what I think this case is doing is clearing his name, essentially. Yeah. So let's say he wins or loses the cases, whatever happens, I think at the end of the day, he'll still win that side of the argument. Is that, like, you look, I have proof and all this stuff. Even though some of the things that Johnny Depp did, I wouldn't justify. Like,
oh, hell no.
All the abuse, drug abuse.
100% he was drunk. 100% he was on drugs. Like, there's no doubt. You hear him, like I was saying about her voice on the videotapes. You hear Johnny's voice on the videotapes. He's wasted.
Yeah.
You can hear it. Like, so that's why it's like, you know, he's no saint. Like, to me, he already had the public behind him. To me, his name was already kind of cleared. I just think taking this extra step was a little bit more like his petty side. You know, he doesn't need that $50 million, right? But I think he just wanted to like expose everything, like air it all out, to like get back at her and maybe like hurt her.
One of the things that really drawed me in the beginning, that like one of the first, it might have been the first day of the trial, was that he said, "I'm obsessed with the truth." Right, and so that might be it,
yeah,
right?
It could be, yeah, it could be that simple.
Right, I just want the truth to come out. I don't want. Maybe that's a burden on him. People thinking that he's an abuser.
Oh yeah,
a physical abuser.
I mean, yeah. Even though most people like are on his side right now, it's possible that maybe there's a couple people out there that still believe no, he's an abuser. Maybe like inside of his circle or something.
Yeah,
something he wants to just air it all out. And
or maybe these companies canceling him is enough for him to be like, well, no, I want to clear my name.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't see him coming out in anytime soon.
No.
So
he's old already, though.
Too. Yeah, he is. But you know, Johnny Depp, man, every movie he looks like completely different.
Bro, he's a great actor.
Yeah,
like that's not to be argued. And so here's the funny thing: it's like, I don't care what an actor does personally. I don't care if they're a drug addict.
I feel the same way, dude. A lot of people argue with me about this. Yeah.
I don't care if they're abusers. I don't care what they are. If they're good on the screen, I don't care what they do on their personal life. Like, let them play their role.
I agree too, man. Like, I always separate the art from the person. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a character they're playing on TV. You know, if in real life they're a scumbag, that's cool. But I still like the show.
Do people? Honest question to the listeners right now: do people watch movies and are like, Johnny Depp's in that movie? I hate this movie because there's alleged,
allegations
on him. Do people do that?
I think so. I think an infamous case was this comedian named Louis C.K. I don't know if you ever heard about him. Okay, well, he did something pretty obscene, right? Nothing really like illegal. It was just really weird what he did.
Yeah.
So he would, you can edit this out if you want, right?
No.
So what he would do is he'd invite women to his hotel room, and he would just pull his penis out, start masturbating without explanation, and they'd all be like, like, he wouldn't touch them, he wouldn't do anything, he wouldn't force them to do anything. Yeah. He would just do it.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the first big Me Too's, right? But to me, that guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
His stand-up comedy to me is some of the funniest around. And I haven't seen a special since he did that, right? But that's mostly because all the companies pretty much exiled him, right? Do I still think he's a funny guy? Yeah. Is he kind of weird? Yeah. But like, he didn't really do anything illegal, right?
Yeah.
It's just really weird. So he got Me Too'd and he got shelved just like that. So I guess that's what Johnny's trying to avoid. Like for this to be affecting him, because it's still affecting Louis C.K. This came out like maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe more. For this to be affecting Johnny, let's say in 10 years when he's trying to like, I don't know, he might be 50, so he might be retiring in 10 years and not doing anything.
What I think Johnny Depp. Have you seen that new Mark Wahlberg movie?
No, I haven't seen it. The Father Stew, and I've seen the commercials.
Yeah, my wife and I, we went to go see it last week.
What do you think?
It was all right. Yeah. It was okay. But he supposedly financed that movie because he wanted it to be produced in the way that he envisioned it. He didn't want anything to be skewed. That's what I heard.
Oh, and he got another controversial person on that movie, Mel Gibson.
Okay.
I don't know who he plays in the movie, but Mel Gibson's in the movie.
The dad.
Yeah. He's in that movie, and he got canceled a while back for like anti-Semitic comments, right? Like he said some really bad shit, and Hollywood exiled him, right? But you see him in that movie, and like there might be people out there like, oh, he's in that movie. I'm not, you know. That's the kind of person that gets people riled up, right? But that's kind of more racist, so I guess I kind of get it. But I can still watch a Mel Gibson movie and be like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, me too. I can separate it, especially with actors. I think it'd be a good move, Johnny Depp coming out of this case, maybe making his own movie, producing his own movie.
He can start producing his own stuff. And he
then
definitely has the money to.
He has the money, right? And then maybe that's a way that he can bounce back. Hey, I don't need Hollywood. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Let's go back to the case. Or let's go back. I want to go back to the dynamic of the relationship. Again, I'm more interested in the individual. I'll always be interested in the individual. What I'm seeing personally is a weak man with mommy issues and a tough woman who is a manipulator and who is not narcissistic, taking advantage of the situation. Yeah. Because I explained this I'm a co-host to another podcast. I explained this on how the biggest leverage either side has to a relationship is your ability to leave. If you can just leave this, like if you can leave the relationship, listen, women aren't slaves as much as they think that they are nowadays. You can literally leave a relationship. So by Johnny Depp staying in this relationship and dealing with the abuse or her staying and dealing with the abuse, I just think that they're just both toxic beings. Like at the end of the day, they're probably perfect for each other. Like,
No, I get exactly what you're saying. Because that's exactly what I was thinking when I was hearing the tapes, like hearing the recordings. I'm like, why don't you just leave? Like, what is stopping you? What is holding you there? Like, and I remember, I think they had like some sort of incident, right? It might have been a public incident. And he went on later to say, oh, no, it's just love. Love makes you do crazy things. It's like, that's like the worst excuse I've ever heard.
But you notice that that's the same thing that Will Smith said.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that is exactly the same thing.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get across to people. It's that this isn't a coincidence.
No,
what we're starting to see is that these women that First of all, Amber Heard is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's a very attractive woman.
Yeah,
That's not... That is the only way that she can get away with acting the way she acts. If she was fat and ugly, I'm telling you right now,
no.
she's not going to get away with anything like that.
She wouldn't have met Johnny Depp at all. So, yeah.
So if y'all notice this, only very attractive women can get away with acting the way these narcissistic women act. But it takes an individual that is weak in the relationship dynamics. Will Smith, Johnny Depp, they both have mommy issues, bro.
Yeah.
If you listen to the Johnny Depp trial, like the first 2 days is all about how he's a troubled kid because he's always learned to retreat because his mom was abusive.
Yeah. I had no idea. I didn't hear that part of the case.
Yeah. It's in like the first 2 days.
Yeah.
His sister goes up and she explains their whole childhood and how Johnny Depp was a retreater. He would run away. He was a crybaby.
Oh, basically trying to show like, oh, he's not an aggressor. He's not
the aggressor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the same thing with Will Smith.
Did you read the Will Smith book?
No.
Oh, he had like an autobiography that had a bunch of stuff come out. I remember it was like there was like a headline every day from like Will Smith's book, and I believe he had a troubled relationship with his father. I'm not sure about his mother, and I don't think anything really came out of that. But from what I hear, it's a really good biography, you know. And he put it out like a year ago, right? So you can imagine you could read that, and you could probably like read between the lines and see this situation that happened with him recently, and kind of like connect some dots there. You know, He got really personal in the book. And, well, obviously what he did on the Oscar stage stems from personal issues. There's no way like an okay human being just does that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm seeing where like these guys are allowing women to take advantage of them. And I don't put full blame on the women. Like I would honestly put more blame on these guys that are like, bro, if a girl's going to take a dump on your bed,
yeah, what are you
just leave. What are you doing?
Yeah, I wanted to pull up the because on the Jada podcast there was a comment directed at you, and I just wanted to get
go ahead.
Yeah. So, do you believe you're biased? You blame women? I don't think so.
No,
really. I don't think so.
I think that I clearly stated that I blame men more than I do blame women, because I think that men should be leaders of the relationship. And so when you allow women to manipulate you, see, if a woman manipulates you, I put that blame on the man, because that doesn't just happen overnight. Women will show these red flags. Women will present themselves and try to manipulate you little by little by little. At some point you have to set that boundary. Like, hey, I demand respect. Talked about this on the other podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love it because I believe that there's no such thing as unconditional love. I believe that unconditional love only comes from God. I believe that unconditional love does not exist. There has to be conditions to there has to be conditions to love. Here are the conditions. In order for me to love my wife, no infidelity. She can't cheat on me. If she cheats on me, I'm out.
Yeah, of course.
And I need to make that clear. If I'm one of these blue pill guys that say, I'll do anything for you and I'm going to stay with you till death do us part. It doesn't matter what you do. She has no incentives to be with me. What I'm basically telling her is that you can do whatever you want to me. You can cross any boundary and I'm going to stay with you no matter what. No, that's not the case. Here are the boundaries. You need to respect me. You can't cheat on me.
Yeah.
I'm the man of the household. I'm going to make the important decisions. Blah, 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 blah. Now, if I allow her to cross those boundaries and I don't say anything, I would put the blame on the man.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's going back to I don't know much about the Johnny and Amber's relationship. Like, I'm really curious. I don't know if you know. Who left? Like, who was the person that, like, ended up saying, hey, I'm done with it?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny left, and then shortly later, she accused him of abuse.
Yes. So what happened was Johnny Depp's mom passed away. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, he said that he left the facility and he was just like, you know what? I just don't want to be in the marriage anymore.
Yeah.
So he calls her up and he says, I want a divorce. You know, I'm not going to fight you on it. This is just what I want. A couple of days later, I believe, she says that she wants to talk. He brings his bodyguards and he tells his bodyguard, stay right next to the door. If you hear any screaming, jump in. Yeah. Okay. A few minutes or an hour passes by. They're talking. At the end of the conversation, he discusses the whole conversation, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
At the end of the conversation, she gets upset. They start arguing. The bodyguards go in, and she's screaming, "That's the last time you put your hands on me!" Like basically putting on the scene that that he had put his hands on her and whatnot. Yeah, she's a psycho, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's the her accusations that he would put out her cigarettes on her. I'm like, you would have a burn mark. And like most women, what they tell women is like, hey, when you're abused, take a picture of it, right? Yeah. So you have proof. Like, I haven't seen any. Have you, like, in the case? Have you seen any pictures?
So they talk about that, and I mean, not that it makes it any. Well, it's not as extreme, but so they asked Johnny Depp because they have a recording of her saying, "Don't put your cigarette out on me."
Oh, out on me. Yeah.
And so he responds to that. He's like, "That's an overexaggeration. I threw the cigarette at her." And I'm like, bro, that's still pretty bad, bro.
Yeah.
That's like what?
Throwing a lit cigarette at someone. Yeah, that's hella disrespectful. I wouldn't say he's like physically abusing her, right? But that's a sort of abuse, like you're throwing trash at people.
So like he throws a cigarette at her and he calls her a fat ass.
Bro, Jesus. Right? What kind of a marriage is this?
Exactly. And so, but you can see these little minute, like these insults being thrown at each other, bro. Oh, yeah. So he gets this deal from Dior, I think it was.
Yeah.
And she says like, "Oh, why would they want you? People of Dior, they have class, and you don't have that. Like they have style and class. You just don't have that. That's disrespect right there, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and that's what I'm talking about when I tell people is like when you allow females to disrespect you in that way,
put you down.
Yeah, they're doing it in small ways, and it doesn't look like abuse. And I talked about this too. It was like women's best arsenal is their voice, bro.
Oh, for sure.
They're not built like men where they can physically abuse, so they do it with their voice. And so that's how these Jada Pinkett Smiths and that's how these Amber Heards, that's what they do. They're good with their voice. Amber Heard knew what to do in this situation. She knew that people were going to favor the woman, the female. So
off rip, yeah, of course. Until later on when Johnny started trying to clear his name, like you said, he just wanted to clear his name. But yeah, no. There's like I'm just looking at her like waiting to see like is she gonna prove anything? Like she's not proving any abuse. The thing is Johnny doesn't look like a saint either. That's why I think this court case is like it might even be 50-50 honestly because while he's up there he's also a little condescending and a little like like making a joke out of her and kind of like the court and and that doesn't really go over well with judges and stuff. So we'll see how the case goes, right? But so far it's been like a comedy, man. Like it's
for sure.
Like now it's just memeable. There's a bunch of memes about Amber pooping on his bed,
and the makeup thing too, right?
The makeup thing.
She says that she's been using this certain particular makeup to cover up bruises. Is it Maybelline?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. It's a makeup company, and the makeup company comes out and says, "We didn't even have that product out."
Yeah, the product wasn't out until a year after your divorce.
Like that's hilarious, bro.
But like I said, like, where's the pictures? Like, you have a cell phone. 1,000% she's taking selfies every day. Like, she's a beautiful woman. She's probably into herself, Yeah. There's no pictures.
Here's the thing to that too is that here's what I'm kind of scared of for Johnny Depp because I'm on Johnny Depp's side.
Of course, yeah.
Just in this case, I think he's a corrupt man. And I think that he has a lot of issues that he needs to work on.
Yeah.
But in this case, I really do hope he wins. But the thing is, abuse comes in many ways. And in the initial post, which is what he's fighting, is that saying that this initial post is what ruined his career.
Yeah.
It's very vague, bro. So it's her saying that she received abuse. It didn't say physical abuse.
Yeah.
It didn't. So if she can prove in any type of way that she was in an abusive relationship, she's not lying.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like it. I mean,
Right?
He was throwing cigarettes at her.
Right.
He was telling her stuff. Like, abuse is not only physical. It's very mental. It's very strategic. It's like how to put a person down. Well, definitely, if you throw trash at a person, that's how you put them down. You know, you take away their clothes. Like, certain things like trigger humans in a different kind of way that makes them feel less than.
Yeah, bro.
And that's abuse, right? To me, right? That's what I think it is too.
So I haven't read the actual document, but I really want to read that post because
and man, trying to accuse her of taking his shit on his bed, and if that's not true, like that's like trying to embarrass her in front of the whole world, right? That's a form of abuse. If it's not true, if it's true, then like. If it's true, then okay. Like,
well, he never said that it's her.
He said like he kind of insinuated, which is like
it's insinuating.
You probably shouldn't bring it up on like court that that happened. You know, like
Well, he's trying to prove that it's
not all
crazy.
there.
She's nutty.
No, but she does a good job of that herself, honestly. So he could just shut up and like let the tapes play.
Yeah. What's good on his side though is that he's having all these people testify for him.
Yeah,
and she has nobody. This is what I read, and don't know if it's true or not because it was just a comment, but it was somebody come out saying like it's crazy how so many people, even on her Amber Heard's side, like some of her family members are denying, like in her defense, but even some of her friends or someone in her group is on Johnny Depp's side, is testifying, like that speaks volume, and if that's true. It does speak volume. Yeah,
if it is, for sure. I mean, people know when something's wrong, you know. If people that you consider your friends are not on your side, then obviously you're doing something wrong.
For sure.
There's no way. They're supposed to be biased towards you.
I have a friend that we're gonna well, I'm his co-host to his podcast, but we're gonna talk about this as well. And he's extremely biased. Like
how would you say?
He's on Johnny Depp's side.
1,000%.
1,000%, and he does not see that Johnny Depp has done anything wrong. Here's a problem I have with Johnny Depp. In the first 2 to 3 days of the whole trial, they're trying to paint him out to be a victim of his childhood, and they're also trying to paint him to be father of the year. Bro, you're abusing drugs, like. You're coming out on videos slamming cabinets,
right? Punching stuff, which is like any sort of behavior like that around your child is not okay.
That's not okay. You're not father of the year, bro. No. And I wouldn't even consider that a decent human being.
Yeah,
maybe a good businessman.
Even if you did it without your kids being there, if they come home and they see like the house destroyed and you don't have like. Well, I mean, what reason could you have that? Like, it's obviously someone broke all this stuff. Like that sticks in their heads, man. I mean, with kids, everything does.
Yeah, so I tell my friend, I was like, bro, do you honestly think that he has no way, shape, or form? It takes two to tango, bro.
Oh, yeah, it does, yeah.
It take one toxic human being is not going to... You step away from that.
Yeah.
But it takes two, easily. Bro. It takes two. And so I tell him, how can you be so biased to not see that Johnny Depp, in some way, shape, or form, is at fault too? Like,
yeah. No, there's no way. There's no way two people can engage in a relationship and one be completely a saint. Like in all forms of toxic relationships that I've seen, that I've been around, whether be it friends or family members, there's always like, oh, this person did this, oh, that's bad. But this person also did this, you know, to them, and it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
man. Like you said, like a woman can degrade you verbally, right? And then, well, let's say this woman degrades this man verbally, like every day. One day he snaps, he hits her. He's really wrong, right? He's super wrong. But is she right for verbally abusing? Like, you know, in this case, it's flipped.
Yeah. Which
is like not very common. You know, you don't always see like the woman's the one hitting. But the man, being Johnny Depp, is also throwing cigarettes at her.
Yeah.
Smashing cabinets in front of her. Dude, smashing cabinets in front of someone, it's like trying to intimidate someone. Like, look what I'm doing to this stuff. Imagine what I'll do to you, you know?
Bro,
he's not saying it, but he's showing it.
If I came home and I started slamming drawers, I guarantee you my wife is going to be...
She'd be scared.
She'd be frightened.
Yeah.
100%. She's probably not going to want to get next to me. She'll probably feel threatened. Yeah. Maybe like if I'm going to hit her.
And you can act like, oh, no, you know, I'm just, you know, frustrated because of this and that. It's like Like, no, like you're doing it in front of someone. Like it's a show.
Yeah.
Like they're actors, man. They know what they're doing. It's just no, man.
No,
I don't buy it.
Something you said that was pretty interesting is like the roles are flipped. But what if it was not flipped? Like what if it was?
It'd be an open and shut case.
He'd be in jail, bro.
Yeah, he'd be in jail.
If an audio came out that Johnny Depp said, "I didn't punch you, I hit you."
Yeah, I hate you.
He'd be in jail, bro.
Oh, 1,000%. It's just like I said. The only reason this is the case is because it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, she's verbally abusing him too. But he's not. I mean, the media has painted him to be a little bit more of the sympathetic figure, which I think he is. You know, I kind of, from seeing the whole thing, I do side more with Johnny if I had to pick a side.
Yeah.
So but at the same time, it's like I know he's not right, man. Like
I don't think he'll do any physical harm to anybody.
No, I don't think so.
But I wouldn't particularly say that's somebody who I would feel comfortable around all the time. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I kind of, there's this one example I'm thinking in my head of like this one couple I knew, right? Mm-hmm. By the end of it, it was really toxic, right? But one of them alcoholic, right? Got the other one into drinking, and by the end of it, they're both kind of like that.
Yeah. And
so, like, don't you think that's like what if that could have happened with Johnny and Amber, right? Like Johnny's an alcoholic, and maybe when they met, she enjoyed having alcohol or whatever. Yeah. But through being with him and enjoying her time with him, she got kind of codependent on it because it said, I mean, they were saying that they would drink like 2 bottles of wine a day, maybe each, or like maybe even more. Right. Yeah. Which is like, if you get her into that and then she starts acting crazy, like it's like you're to blame for some of it. Yeah. There's no way that you're completely innocent if that's the case, because you're complicit. You and her are both abusing. Be there alcohol or drugs, and that really messes up everything, honestly.
Yeah, that's very interesting too, because I've seen quite a bit of relationships like that.
Yeah, where it starts off, we're like, okay, you know, you could kind of tell this one is, you know, he or she is a little bit more of an alcoholic, like likes to drink alcohol. They get to someone with like doesn't really do that, and then slowly but surely they both become, you know, it's what you allow.
Usually the one that is entering the relationship as like the more innocent one has trouble saying no. They're a little bit too agreeable.
Yeah.
And so maybe a little bit too much of a pushover. And so like I've seen a case where this person was into weed. Yeah. And then the partner ended up joining the relationship. This person, female, couldn't say no. And so she got into weed. Yeah. Right. She wanted to engage and be more with, you know, one with her partner, and so she ended up becoming the pothead, and she couldn't. She always needed to be around it, and he came to a point of his life where I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, it's like, bro, you can't just
cut it off. You already gotta. I mean, you know, they say, you know, people say that weed is not addictive. That people could cut it off at any time. It's like BS. It's like, no, man. Like anything that makes you feel good is addictive. Yeah. Anything that makes you feel good. So
I'm addicted to caffeine.
Oh, 1,000%. Caffeine makes me feel great. You know, and people will be like, oh yeah, but that's actually addictive. I'm like, yeah, but it's the feeling, like the feeling of being stimulated, the feeling of being that. You know, when you smoke weed, you get a feeling, you get stimulated, and some people like to feel that. You know,
for sure.
I think you can still abuse it, and like you said, that example is like it's messed up. Now, what are you gonna do? Like, make her buy her own stuff, or like, you know,
or like break up with her because
she's doing it too much, and you don't want to be around it. Yeah, and that could have happened. Like, I'm not 100% sure, right? Yeah. But it's very possible that Johnny could have unknowingly like pushed her down a bad path through his own, because I mean he's kind of famous for always being, I wouldn't say on drugs or on alcohol, but like, you know,
well, the thing
life of the party.
I don't think he has a record based on this case. He doesn't have a record of being abusive to his partner, because his ex-wife and his ex-fiance actually
spoke out in his defense.
Yes, in his defense. Yeah, and they're saying that he was never abusive in that way to us. Like, you know, he had his problems with drugs, but like he never did anything to us. But I think on her side, there has been like some toxic relationships, and I think that's something that I don't know if the case is going to take into consideration, but I think it should. It's like there's a common denominator there, right?
Some sort of pattern.
some sort of pattern. Because
Yeah.
we've seen
I
that.
mean, that's why they're doing the background.
We've seen that
stories
too.
of- Yeah, yeah.
We've seen that too. We know somebody who jumps in a relationship and it turns toxic.
It turns hella toxic. Yeah,
It turns toxic, but it's not their fault.
yeah.
And then they join another relationship,
And it goes to shit.
and it's like, man, I never knew that person was like that, right? That's the way I see it, and it's like, well, maybe they weren't.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe they were conditioned to that.
Exactly, and that's the thing I'm trying to say. Like maybe one conditioned the other. Maybe it could have been. It's also possible that maybe Johnny was never verbally abusive with his other wives, but with this one, it's like, you know, she brought something out of him, and he brought something out of her. It's just probably the worst match they could have ever done, man. Like, just
They're both a little loony.
They are, yeah. But the thing is, like, they don't live in the real world, man. Like,
Yeah.
in their lives, they don't have consequence. Like, in any other place, the cops would have been called because they would have heard the screaming. But of course, they live in a mansion, so no one's gonna hear them. Their closest neighbor is probably like, so far you can't even hear anything, right?
Yeah.
But in most cases, like, if you live in a neighborhood, the cops are probably getting called on you. If you live in an apartment, the cops are probably getting called on you because someone's gonna hear some sort of commotion, right? So these people were just they just isolate themselves with each other and they get wrapped up into this little fake world that they live in. Like I said, that's why we're making light of it, because this is just such a Hollywood problem. Like, it has nothing to do with like real life.
For sure. Not like the other cases that we've covered, right?
No,
Where there's people being murdered and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, this one's like, here's the thing too. It's like, it's also about social status, right? It's like, I don't want my image to be.
Yeah, it's image defamation, you know.
Yeah.
Countersue, all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to be pretty privileged situation to claim defamation, right?
Yeah.
You got to be famous.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you got to be famous. You have to have like something to lose off your just reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I think to conclude this conversation, I think that Johnny Depp is the lesser of two evils.
yeah,
Which is why I side with him. I'm not saying that he is Father of the Year. I'm not saying that he is Man of the Year. But I do think that Amber Heard is very manipulative. I think that we can see that.
You can hear it, man.
Yeah, based off all the evidence. She looks psycho. Like, she looks psycho.
yeah.
Just sitting there.
The face, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think that she's more of like the malevolent type. And yeah.
I agree.
I hope he wins.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you know, like you said, takes two to tango. They both need each other to be this toxic. Like, they can't do it by themselves. You know, they did it to each other.
Oh, bro, I totally forgot about this. Is like another proof that a beautiful woman who is a great manipulator can get away with certain things. He wanted a prenup, so he had his lawyer. He had his lawyer approach her lawyer about the prenup. She kept denying it. Right? That's like the typical thing that we see. Well, if you truly love me, we don't need a prenup. And guess what he does? He doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't get the prenup done.
I mean, there's the other side of the argument. If you truly love me, you wouldn't try to go after my money. You know,
Exactly.
this and that, right?
But a woman that is very beautiful and that knows how to speak and manipulate
can get away with that.
can get away with that.
And she did, and she ended up getting money off of the divorce, you know? That's how it works, man. That's the system. That's the current system we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have anything else you want to say?
Nah, man, that's pretty much it. It's pretty...
I hope I can get you back on so we can talk about like the closure of this case, because I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah,
interested.
we can do it,
I'm gonna
for sure.
continue staying with the case and just kind of like watch it unfold. And so when it actually does unfold and we see who wins,
I wonder if she's going to take the stand. Has she taken the stand?
Not
I don't
yet,
think so.
not yet.
It's just all been Johnny.
dude, I'm so interested in that.
I mean, maybe that's when she gets to present her evidence, right? Maybe she hasn't done anything yet. We'll see.
Apparently, according to my friend who's extremely biased on Johnny Depp's behalf, he's saying that they have so much dirt on her still yet to present. But this guy, like, dude, he's in over his head.
Yeah, it's
bro.
wild, dude. There's no way.
Yeah,
No
but
way.
anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all so much. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. If you're on Spotify, hit the 5-star rating and make sure you follow so you don't miss any other podcast. If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is through Instagram, The Real Comment Podcast. And if you follow, and I usually do in the stories like questionnaires and Q&As, or if you have any ideas, which I appreciate everybody that's been in the DMs. I have a list, maybe about 3 or 4 suggestions. This is one of them. So people are actually suggesting podcasts to me, and I'm getting them done. So thank you all so much. I really do appreciate that. But the only way you can do that is through Instagram, The Real Common Podcast. Without further ado, you got anything else, bro?
No, sir.
So we're out.
Yes,
Peace,
sir.
guys.
On the track.